Josh Newberg, On3 Recruits, going to talk a little bit of Oregon with us. Josh, thank you for joining us. I don't know that anybody doubted that Dan Lanning would be building a monster out there on the West Coast, but if there were any doubts, it seems like when Oregon extended him post the Saban announcement, that they were going all in, and it seems they're going all in pretty heavily everywhere. And you know, it's kind of crazy to think how big that monster could really get out there on the West Coast.
Yeah, it's been fun watching Oregon recruit. I mean, you know, just following it from the beginning of the cycle. Let's just call the beginning of the cycle January. You know, there was just guys like a DeCorian Moore and a Dorian Brew and Nasir White, Jordan Davis. You know, not guys, Zaire Addison, not guys that we necessarily thought we knew Oregon had a shot at, but to see them all committed now, I mean, in what Oregon's been building, in the way that they've been battling, and, you know, they don't win every battle. You know, there have been some tough losses along the way. Oregon fans, you know, I want to say it was March or April, going on our scoopduck.com on the On3 network, you know, their fans were on the message boards wondering what's happening with Oregon recruiting. And, you know, obviously summer hits, things are way different, and the Ducks are cooking.
We always talk about NIL with in any kind of context of recruiting now in 2024. Oregon does seem to have one of the more competitive NIL outlets and collectives in the country, and they're certainly aggressive with it. Is the are the Phil Knight rumors, are the ideas of just like stroke it all as far as checks go, is that pretty legitimate, or, you know, is that?
I mean, hey, like I just said, Oregon doesn't land everybody. I mean, they are, you know, they do lose some battles. They were sitting at 4 or 5 in the country. It's not like they're wire to wire number one. If NIL meant everything in every recruitment, then they would land every recruit. But every recruit is different. Some are heavily weighted in NIL. Some decisions are heavily weighted in NIL. Some recruits never have an NIL discussion with a coach. So, I mean, you know, every recruitment's different, but the resources are definitely there for Oregon if needed.
So yesterday, Oregon missed out on DJ Pickett. How do they pivot from there? Where do they go after a pretty tough loss?
Well, first and foremost, you don't stop recruiting DJ Pickett. They got something to prove on the football field. And if they don't, you better believe that Oregon, who is no, you know, stranger to flipping guys late, is going to try to flip an elite player like a DJ Pickett. So first and foremost, I don't think that at least his recruitment to Oregon, I don't think it's over yet. Then you got to look at the commit list. I mean, you have 5-star Dorian Brew. Then you have another top 10 corner in Brandon Finney currently committed. So Oregon doesn't need to go out and reach for anybody. I think they can just sit back and be patient and kind of let things play out. Really, there's going to be some more guys coming off the board this summer, but also you can wait on some key targets in the fall. And like I said, you got Trey McNutt making his decision on Friday. That looks like it's trending to Oregon. That could be a huge piece to the secondary as well. So, you know, Duck fans, I think this might just be a temporary delay in finishing the secondary class, but you know, this isn't a huge blow just yet. Remember, DJ Pickett hasn't signed. He's only committed.
So we talk about this all the time, and on-field results certainly matter, but big picture, Oregon is, you know, monster recruiting right now. Lanning certainly building that up and seems to be building it up pretty quickly. On-field results, though, they had a really good year last year. Obviously, the couple of losses to Washington. How much could making a college football playoff or winning the Big Ten really impact and help what Lanning's doing out there? You know, again, how much room is there to improve on, you know, being like top 3? But how much can that really help this year?
It can help a lot because, you know, a lot of what goes on with recruiting is also roster retention. And I think one of the big ways when you have a loaded roster of talented players, because you've recruited so well in both the portal and high school level, one of the ways to help retention is winning, because guys who are riding the bench are going to be more apt to say, hey, you know, maybe I'll stick it out here because this is a program on the rise. This is a program where we're playing on the biggest stages. I'm going to stay here. Whereas if the program slips a little bit, it can give guys another reason to want to leave. So, you know, as much as we talk about player acquisition and recruiting, player retention of these current rosters is also really important, and winning can help that a lot too.
What's their, we talked about it, like maybe getting to 1, but what do you truly see their ceiling at for this class?
I think the ceiling is 1. I mean, I wouldn't say that's what I expect it to be, but, kind of like in those NCAA knockout pool or NCAA bracket pools, when you lose early or when your number 1 gets knocked out, you can kind of see what my max potential score would be.
Yeah.
Well, for the Ducks, I mean, their max potential is still a number 1 class. Like with between what they got and what is still remaining, you got Jonah Williams out there. We talk about Texas A&M battles. Number 1 safety in America, Jonah Williams, was all locked up to be a Texas A&M Aggie. We thought, because he told me when he was here in Nashville, I'm making a baseball decision and a football decision. And at the time, the Aggies had the number 1 of the top programs. Their head coach was still there. Of course, their head coach leaves to Texas. It kind of opens the door on the baseball side of things. And all of a sudden, the experts are picking Oregon for Jonah Williams. So there is a ton of excitement still left out there for Oregon.
Josh, where can people follow you? Where can Oregon fans check out more of your work or really any college football recruit?
Yeah, we are at the On3 Recruits channel, and on Friday evening, actually, we are going to be broadcasting live the commitment with Trey McNutt from Cleveland on the On3 Recruits channel. So you guys be there. We are talking Oregon Ducks recruiting all year long.
Awesome. Thanks, man.